person is dead after border agents say a ponga boat carrying at least 16 people capsized off La Jolla. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee, in for Barbara Lee Edwards.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. It's the second time in 4 days we've seen this kind of thing after a deadly tragedy weeks ago involving another smuggling attempt. News 8's Heather Hope spoke to an immigration expert about the increase in incidents.
Yes, we're at Lifeguard headquarters where they gave us an update along with Border Patrol after witnessing that vessel. They're saying coming in, dropping off people in the water before it capsized in La Jolla.
They understand, I believe, the dangers. However, they don't fully get the sense of how dangerous they are until, these incidents happen.
Just after 5 a.m., U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agents spotted under a dozen people who appeared to be in distress in the water. They called on assistance from San Diego lifeguards who noticed people being dropped off in the water, and then the ponga boat came down to Wipeout Beach and capsized in La Jolla.
A lot of times these vessels are not seafaring vessels. They're grossly overladen. They're packed with gas cans. They're packed full of people. Lifeguards rescued 10 people. Some were wearing flotation devices, others were not. And the boat carried over 16. Officials say one person died after being submerged underwater. We do know it's a business, right? And we do know in the maritime environment they can charge significantly higher fees. Lifeguards said the water's choppy condition could have made matters worse.
The conditions out there today were rough. We have 4 to 6 foot surf and some heavy currents.
But with this being the second human smuggling by boat attempt just this week, why does this continue to happen?
I think people are getting desperate. I think people are becoming much more frustrated and seeking these different ways of crossing into the U.S.
Pedro Rios is in Tijuana every Thursday passing out masks and hygiene kits at the border, where he's noticed a big increase and says it's due to several reasons, including lack of a clear policy message from the U.S. to migrants and the lack of humanitarian aid from Mexican authorities. Rios says this won't be the last of the ponga boat smuggling attempts.
I think so, unfortunately. I think we'll probably continue to see these incidents, and my hope is that we don't see any more loss of life.
Border Patrol agents say they have ramped up coastal enforcement efforts recently.
It's definitely something that we've seen an increase of over the past couple of fiscal years. Last fiscal year was actually a record year for maritime apprehensions, with 1,273 apprehensions in the maritime environment. This fiscal year, which won't end until the end of September, we're already approaching 1,100, so we're on pace to break that record again.
Border Patrol said they took in those 15 people determined to be in the U.S. unlawfully. They will now be processed. Heather Hope, News 8.
All right, Heather, thanks. Tonight, the Vista Sheriff's Station is asking for your help. Detectives are looking to identify the man accused of attacking a woman at Buena Vista Park yesterday, just before noon.
The woman was walking her dogs on a walking trail when she passed the man. He then attacked her and tried to pull her into some bushes. They both fell to the ground, and the victim reported he got up and ran away from the area.
The victim described the suspect as a Hispanic man in his 20s with brown hair, wearing a maroon sweatshirt with the words Rancho Buena Vista High School on it. For now, the Sheriff's Department is conducting extra patrols of the park. Anyone with information about who the man may be is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 888-580-8477.
Today, a man accused of murdering his wife and putting her dismembered legs in a Rancho San Diego dumpster nearly 2 decades ago appeared in an El Cajon courtroom. Jack Potter pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder and 3 counts of perjury. Detectives reopened the cold case last year and used genetic genealogy to identify the victim as Potter's wife, Lori. She was never reported missing. Potter is being held without bail and is due back in court in August.
San Diego County is now about 67% toward its goal of vaccinating more than 2 million residents ages 12 and older.
Officials are working to get that number higher. Supervisor Board Chair Nathan Fletcher says mobile vaccination events appear to be helping make it easier to get a shot. He adds the county is planning to hold more of them.
There's folks out there that are willing to get vaccinated, but we gotta take it to them. We have to do it in a little bit more convenient way. We gotta try and incentivize and engage folks who want to get vaccinated.
Next week, the county is also launching an art contest for local youth to submit video and visual arts projects, encouraging people to get vaccinated. Top prize is $1,200. More details can be found on the county's website.
States across the U.S. are pushing ahead with plans to return to pre-pandemic life. As Michael George reports, First Lady Dr. Jill Biden and Dr. Anthony Fauci toured a vaccination center in the nation's capital today.
First Lady Dr. Jill Biden and Dr. Anthony Fauci made a stop at D.C.'s Children's National Hospital, emphasizing the need to vaccinate more Americans.
We're here to do vaccinations. We have hope. Look at all the people that have come.
Nationwide, new COVID cases have fallen below 30,000 a day for the first time in nearly a year. But cases in children are on the rise.
By the end of this calendar year, it's likely that we'll have enough information to vaccinate children of any age.
Just this week, the FDA eased cold storage rules for Pfizer's 2-dose vaccine in an effort to make it more widely available. Here in New York, masks are no longer required in most settings for people who are fully vaccinated. And to reach those who aren't, the state will begin offering a lottery incentive starting next week.
Vaccine Scratch. You get a vaccination and you get a lottery ticket for the $5 million mega multiplier New York State lottery.
On Capitol Hill, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says masks must stay on in the chamber and at hearings until more members are vaccinated.
They are selfishly a endangerment to other people, including staff people here.
She doesn't want to abide by the CDC rules. She actually wants to have greater control.
To deal with confusion over the CDC's mask guidance, the state of Oregon has taken the unprecedented step of requiring businesses to verify the vaccination status of all people who enter buildings without a mask. While in Iowa, Governor Kim Reynolds signed a law banning mask mandates in schools and businesses in the state. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The CEOs of Pfizer and Moderna now say the first Americans to be vaccinated against the coronavirus could require a third booster shot as early as September. After more than a week of destructive airstrikes and heavy fighting, Israel and Gaza have agreed to a ceasefire starting tonight. Israel and Hamas did not negotiate with each other. This deal was brokered by Egypt and accepted by Israel late last night. President Biden addressed the ceasefire at the White House today.
Palestinians and Israelis equally deserve to live safely and securely and to enjoy equal measures of freedom, prosperity, and democracy.
At least 230 people have been killed in Gaza, including dozens of children, since the fighting began last Monday. 12 people in Israel have died, including one child.
Scripps Health's website still hasn't fully recovered from a cyber attack. Patients with questions about appointments are reminded to call 1-800-SCRIPPS. A cyber attack knocked IT systems offline nearly 3 weeks ago. Scripps says there's still no estimate on when everything will be back up to speed.
Today, officials approved a plan to build a memorial bridge in honor of a local hiker.
Max Lanai died at Mission Trails Regional Park in January while trying to cross the San Diego River during a hailstorm and flash flooding. Today, the Mission Trails Regional Park Task Force unanimously approved a plan to build a bridge in his honor over that crossing. Lanai's family has raised more than $500,000 to pay for it. You can find a link to donate at CBS8.com. Just click on the Help button.